talk much, whatever we imagine. So today is my 30th wedding anniversary. So happy anniversary to Rhonda. 30 years. I joked Sunday, 29 years longer than I thought it was going to last. So 30 years, and that was the song that we exited the wedding from. So whatever you imagine, and that that line in the song that all just captured my imagination, no pun intended, was "You ought to see all your heroes in me." And what it says was that hopefully that person or the persons in a relationship will kind of live up to something where you can still be respected and admired in spite of you, in spite of maybe all the things that we do. um, I say all the time that marriage is great. It's living with the other person that makes it hard. And so being able
Amen, Brother Deacon.
so to be able
Amen,
to
amen.
negotiate all those things and to be able to do it. So happy anniversary. The
Happy anniversary to you and Rhonda, man.
yeah, I miss Homer would be here, and Homer would do this. He would go, "Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy."
Too much happy
Too
going
much
on.
happy,
Too much
right?
happiness. No, but
You
seriously,
must not be
Keith,
talking about my marriage.
well, no, seriously,
All
Keith,
that happy going on.
happy anniversary to you, man.
Appreciate that.
30 years is a milestone, man, and it's a lot of people that's not even making it 6 months, a year. So, man, 30 years is awesome, man. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna cross my arms right now in this cross the arms moment because
Where you going with this, Jermaine?
I'm finna hate on you because I wish I was in that
No,
position.
you don't.
So my D will put the camera on me.
Yeah,
My arms is
we got
folded like
You don't
King.
look too damn happy.
No,
do you?
Doc, I ain't happy at all. I'm hating that it's
That
anniversary.
he's so happy.
Yeah, why you so happy today?
Well, there's some tears over here, but it ain't all joy.
When he asked for the song, I was like, man, did somebody die?
Hey,
I mean, what's
man.
going on?
So you hear that what's playing in the background? Do I have to hate and play this and fold my arms?
The Tony
Yeah,
Tone.
yeah.
So anyway, now this is what the unique thing. We got married on the same. I say this the same day that we got married. I mean that we met. It was 9 years prior to that on April the 8th, and nice 9 years before we got married, man. But it was I met Rondo on April the 8th. I don't know how I'd feel that once we got married, we said we would do it on the 8th.
It took you so long.
Oh man,
9 years?
man, dude.
How long was the engagement? Because I mean, there's just a dating period, and then there's the engagement.
Not long, not long. Once we decided to get married, I think that could have been like in September of '94, and we got married in April of '95.
So Keith, let me ask you this, man. From man to man. No, seriously, seriously. Now,
Watch
9
Be
years.
careful how you answer
Come
this,
on,
Keith.
man.
Because he ain't got to go home to nobody.
But
ESPN.
ESPN.
And they quit him yet.
Oh, ESPN, don't talk back to me. No, but
Man, no argument.
no, seriously. Out of 9 years of dating, what made you say, okay, she's the one?
9 years.
so just
That's a good
time.
answer.
So time.
Yeah,
So just time.
You
invested.
you know a person, and our joke was we don't want to be referred to as a very special friend at the funeral.
Oh yeah, Doc. Oh, I see a whole lot of those in
When
the
they got you
obituary.
down by entrusted
Yeah.
body entrusted.
Listen, I know.
You're a very special friend, with the pet
Yeah.
poodle,
Yeah.
And very
peaches,
special
and a very
friend.
special friend is just
Barbara.
like
Yeah.
last line.
Yeah. Yeah.
A very special friend. The repass is gonna be at.
Yeah, you get that little.
Where where does this very special friend sit at the funeral?
Man.
I mean, do you get to sit on the front
In
row?
the back, Jack.
You in the back row? You are with your very special
Whoever
friend.
you can, you just ain't gonna be up front with
Get in
her.
where you fit in.
Wherever you can, you might end up in the balcony.
Right.
Remember where the special friend? Yeah, he is up here. Hey.
I didn't even think about that too.
Yeah.
Just that.
And then, wait a minute, hold on. And as Tyrese said, then it got transactional. You ain't getting no insurance.
Yeah, you ain't getting no money.
But I will say this.
That's one thing about putting up with marriage, man. At least you got an insurance policy.
All this time,
Yeah,
all
you done put in the time. Get paid.
Yeah, that's on the back end. But I know some things. I
You
know
can be on the
that.
front end real quick, Debo.
Wow. They share some things in common, like they both love shoes. They have this crazy love of shoes, man. So that part I know about them.
Nice.
Share any other characteristics that you guys share?
We both Baptists.
Okay.
Baptist born,
Okay.
Baptist bred, Baptist dead.
Is there something about food?
And we like the same piece of chicken.
Yep,
What,
they
the
like
thigh-
the same
the
piece
thigh-
of chicken.
The thigh.
Yeah.
We like the same. And I'm going to tell you, this is crazy. It was like 20 years into the relationship that I even realized we like the same piece of chicken.
You couldn't figure out why you would never get no thigh.
Yeah, because
Why's the thighs going every time?
yeah, no, I mean, so
I
Yeah,
know
but-
damn well the chicken got two thighs.
I just see legs and wings. What the hell going on?
Keep
the
giving
only
you,
reason why I ate I became a
kept
thigh
giving you the
guy
breast, huh?
was when we had my mom would get a chicken.
Yeah.
And so everybody had their piece of chicken.
Yeah.
My mom had the breast.
Yeah.
Gary liked breast.
Yeah.
Francine might get the wings because she was little,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
Gary might get, but it was filling up with the thighs. And like I said, I didn't even
love
know.
thighs too.
But
Yeah.
then one day it was like, dude, we like the same piece of chicken.
So, do you still know her favorite color?
No.
No. Okay.
And if I open up the phone lines, how many brothers know their wife's social security number?
Ooh.
She know yours.
You better believe it. Oh, your number is 18355.
She was filling out some forms. Don't you need my social security number? Oh no, I know your
got
number.
it.
I know your number. Look, we had some pretty violent arguments, and what I heard was, you worth more to me dead than you are alive.
Oh, my
so
God.
when you start doing
Chill
that,
out,
now
brother.
you checking the food,
Sound like the record companies now.
taking the car in to make sure the brakes are straight.
By the way, how did that go yesterday? I know you were getting the car checked out yesterday.
You know what? They did say that the brakes need servicing. Thanks, Debo. Got me scared.
Man, I got me
I was
tiptoeing
scared when I
around.
talked to you. Like, what? They did say, hey, next time you come in, you might want to take a look at those brakes. No.
Start no stuff, man. Rhonda's my friend.
Caller, welcome to the program. I'm gonna take an Uber home.
Yeah, Doc. Yeah. Leave the vehicle. Don't. As soon as you put the key in, it's going to blow up.
No, stop
Oops.
that. Stop.
Right. Oops.
Caller, welcome to the
Yeah,
program.
Rhonda listens. She listens.
Ooh, I'm going
Good
home to
morning.
ESPN and the
Good
7.
morning.
What's that?
Congratulations,
Thank
Keith
you.
Rhonda. Congratulations.
He was
She
terrible.
does listen.
He is terrible.
Black
George.
love still exists.
That is terrible.
How's Brenda
What?
doing?
She's doing good. She just asked me if I wanted breakfast.
You guys haven't been arguing or anything, have you? Everything's good around there?
Come say
Not yet.
Come
Not
say
yet. Give us about the noon.
You say you waiting for breakfast?
Wait till about noon. I'll find something. I'll find something.
Hey, George, my mama used to say, hey, Mom, I've really been good. My mama said, the day ain't over yet.
Well, the day ain't over yet.
It ain't over
No.
yet. So,
No. We got 43, but we got 26 under our belt as far as
marriage.
yeah, yeah. Hey, but what I called also for is your boy said he's thinking about running for president now. I'm like, this boy done really got the big head.
Who's that?
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Stephen A.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I heard that he was going to go into politics.
first he said he had no interest. Why do people say that? Oh, I ain't got no interest in it. Now he said he interested and he think he might try to run.
You know, I said there's two lies the preachers tell. I'm not going to be before you long, and I'm about to take my seat. The lie the politicians tell is, I ain't a politician. Hell, you running for office. You are a politician. What are you talking about? I'm not a politician. So whatever, man. That dude, I'm through with Stephen A. I think, you know, he's more hype than anything else. So, you know, whatever.
Yeah, but anyway, I just wanted to call and say congratulations.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
And 30 more.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning. Congratulations, Keith.
Thank you.
This is Angela.
Hey, Angela.
Well, Stephen A. will not get my vote because the way he talked about Milwaukee when he came up here, I wish I would.
Oh, I forgot about that little thing.
Right. So, and I did want to say something on Michelle's, but anyway, the young man Meach, when he called in, I wanted to ask him what color butt he kissed every morning. I forgot to put that in because right on them got me to laughing, but I wanted to ask him what color butt he kissed every morning. Meach, so if you hear me, I'm asking you that. What color butt you kiss every morning?
Okay. All right.
Okay, so, but anyway, congratulations to
Thank
you and have a blessed day.
Hey, you too.
Yeah.
In my sojourn to the squeeze box, I found this book called Erasing History, How Fascists Rewrite the Past to Control the Future by Jason Stead. And man, there's a playbook. Yesterday, sister called in and she was saying they weren't very organized, talking about those people who might support Trump. That's not true. They're very organized. And what we're seeing now, we talked about it last week, where they do things like you want to change the narrative around American history. You start there, and then you go from there to then what we're seeing the Trump administration do. And under the guise of anything that they might consider to be DEI, then we need to take that away. I know Michelle talked about that the National Park Service has removed references to the Underground Railroad, in particular a quote by Harriet Tubman. All this is a setup for fascism. You create the others. It was like I only heard bits and pieces of Michelle's program this morning, but her point was, and we've been making that point, that here we talk about such a insignificant statistically piece of the population, yet it has outside influence. Why? Because you start focusing in on that, you're not going to focus in on the other piece, right? And so it is the weapons of mass distraction. While you're over here, this is happening over here. I think they call it the okie doke, where we focus. And what it does is it plays into these things. And look, folks, we are sometimes the victims of our environment, the victims of our teaching, what we hear in our environment. And there's a trigger there. And even when we have questions around sexuality, it triggers. You know, Michelle said people blow up her phone, right? Just because of where we are when it comes to issues around sex. And a lot of times, and I'll just be controversial, it is our own insecurities around sex, you know, and where we are and what we thought. And then I'm not going to underestimate the influence of religion, especially when it comes around to issues around sex. And I just think that your house is your sanctuary. Your house is your castle. Your bedroom is your sanctuary. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Happy anniversary, Pastor P.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. What up, Sludgehammer?
Hey, Jack.
What up, Simon?
How you doing, man? You got one for us today?
Yeah, I thought me a sponsor, man.
So you did, huh?
Yeah, Bubba's Bait Shop, Barbershop, and Rib Shack. When you buy a rib dinner, you get a high top fade and a dozen night crawlers for $49.99.
Now, that's the best one you've ever told.
Yeah, man.
Bubba's Bait Shop. I go.
Bubba's Bait Shop, Barbershop, and Rib Shack.
Doc.
When you buy a rib dinner, you get a high top fade and a dozen night crawlers for $49.99.
Man, that's a hell of a deal, man.
Yeah, man.
What is that?
We in the phone book.
Look
Yeah,
at
hey, wait a minute. When the last time you got a phone book?
Right. The yellow page.
When the last time you got Yellow Pages where they tear up your porch to the
They throw it so hard.
Look for it. We there.
Put a hole in your front door.
Oh man, they done broke out your screen,
Man.
throwing that up there, man.
Have y'all seen the black pages that we're giving away?
No,
No.
I saw that.
Grab one out of the foyer there, Jermaine, if you could, and we'll put it on camera.
All right, man.
You can stop by while you're picking up your courier. You can pick up the black pages. They back out there.
Yeah. And there were people who made a little bit of change from delivering phone books.
Yeah, sure did.
You know, but now, man, I mean, it is like, and I don't want to do it because if I say Siri, yep, my phone just lit up.
Yes, the series is
Mine
listening.
probably did too in the other room.
It's listening.
Says Siri, it just lit up.
What does that say on the cover, Keith? Doesn't it say black pages?
Yep, Wisconsin Black Pages. We must become the help we are looking for. Community support and strengthen the community by keeping our businesses in the black. And this is really nice.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry about that.
And another thing.
Well, like I thought we was having a radio program here.
What's going on?
What's going on? What's happening? Are we back to you, man? You sound like that kid. Like I'm here.
Yeah, excuse
Hello.
me.
Hello.
Excuse
Okay,
me.
it was a 97-year-old man. He was having heart problems, so he went to his doctor. Doctor corrected it. So 2 weeks later, he saw the doctor. He said, "Hey, doc, how you doing? I did what you told me. I got a hot mama, and I'm being cheerful." The doctor said, "Man, I didn't say that. I said get a heart monitor and be careful. You can't do wrong right."
Oh boy.
Hey, happy anniversary, Pastor Pete.
Appreciate you, man.
Notice
All right.
notice how you threw your mom in there at the end, Keith?
Yeah, how about that? Hey, I think she gets residuals for that quote.
Yeah. Cut the check.
Cut the check. All right, you're listening to Community Voice. When we get to the bottom of the hour, we'll be joined by Miss Julia Means, Miss Brenda Buchanan. Be Healthy, Be You, Essential Wisconsin. We'll be right back.
That soul-stirring gospel Easter bash is gonna be a bash you don't want to miss at Abundant Face, located at 7830 West Good Hope World. The Captain Spirituals. Come on now, Spencer Taylor and the Highway QCs. The fabulous Luckett Brothers. Pastor Tim Rogers and the Phillips is gonna be in the house. Bishop Neil Robeson, Reverend R.L. Bush and the Revived Son, Willie Rogers, Tiffany Terry, Willie Banks Jr. and the Messengers. Curtis Eubanks. Now get your tickets at the New Pitts Mortuary. Call 414-447-6000.
the same access to those things.
I was getting an oil change yesterday. I was in the waiting room, so I had stopped at Goody Gourmet to get popcorn.
And you didn't get any extra to bring on
You know
Tuesday,
what?
huh?
I
You did, but you ate it.
no, I didn't eat it.
Okay.
I will next Tuesday.
Oh,
And so,
she got them little bitty bags. You can. You
oh,
know,
yeah, well, I ended up getting these.
Well, I wanted a big bag. I didn't want the
I do
little
have a
bitty
big
bag.
bag.
she's a very kind woman, and she does a lot for our
Well, I
community.
know that popcorn is popping.
It's,
Mhm.
it is.
It's
And we should
delicious.
support her more. A lot of people are doing this online popcorn thing, but we should support her more.
So I was in the waiting room, and there was a younger brother. He was there, and so I had this huge bag of cheese popcorn, and I'm eating that. But then he got those hot Cheetos,
Mm-hmm.
those, and I thought, man, look at the difference that younger people, younger generations have really grown up on eating a lot of this hot food.
Yes.
Uh, Not to mention the dye.
I would say the dyes that are in those.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
And at least with popcorn, you get some fiber. You know, it's lower. I mean, it's carbs, but it's lower. But you have the fiber added to it, so it's grain. So there's some benefits there.
but I just thought about that, and then how we talk a lot about our diet and nutrition, and I'm gonna tell you, after years of just such poor eating, it is hard to eat right.
Well, it's everywhere. It's easy, the even just fast food or going into the stores and just grabbing salad. Not just I'm talking about like pasta salads, and it's just easy. For some people, they got busy lives. They just don't cook. They just grab those things and eat them. But eventually, that catches up to you.
I think the the younger college kids are doing better. They're doing this thing where they make all their food in a week or whatever, and they're starting to not eat as much meat, and they're starting to do better.
hmm But those are kids that have access to decent food that they can make
Mhm.
and have the money to buy those
Well,
foods.
when I was a college student, obviously we didn't have microwaves.
You didn't
So,
have it at the time.
no. So there was a hot plate that, by the way, was illegal.
All right, but we all had
But
one.
it had hot plates, and we didn't do ramen noodles, but that was real big on other college campuses. Where yeah, and then and I don't know how much of this you're in your late teens, early 20s, your metabolism is real different
Mhm.
in terms of what you consume and how you consume. It's one of the reasons why I love children's church so much is you kind of get a gauge on kind of where the kids are thinking, and
They're pretty smart.
oh yeah, that goes without question. And so we were at the Papa Murphy's do pizzas for children's church, and I discovered that don't waste your money. All kids want on pizzas, cheese and pepperonis.
hmm
They don't want sausage. They don't want onions, they don't want all the stuff we might put on.
Yeah.
Just put pepperoni on
Or some just like plain cheese.
it, like
Yeah.
plain cheese.
Plain cheese. I was teaching children about forgiveness and how you have to forgive. One little boy looked at me. I mean, he was serious. He said, "How you do that?
Aw.
How do you do that?"
It was like when we were talking about how Jesus was meek. I said, so how do we define meek? And I'll never forget Seth yells from the back of the room, soft.
I called Jesus soft.
That
It was
hilarious.
You got to back up going like, well, I don't know. He's soft.
You wonder where he heard that from, or how he
Well, I mean,
deduced
when he-
that.
That's his
That's what he
definition.
associated with the
Mhm.
word. I
Oh.
mean, I think, but even like the eating habits. I knew some kids who, they grew up Muslim
Mhm.
or they grew up 7-Day Adventist,
Mhm.
and so their dietary,
They have good dietary.
right, it was
Mhm.
very different. So things like I baptized this young lady. She grew up Muslim, and she told her aunt she
Right.
she became a Christian, she could eat a pork
She
chop.
eat a pork chop.
A reason to convert, right?
People joke Jesus died so we could eat pork. Uh, but- what that means, Jermaine?
Hey, I'm not in it.
Jermaine, yeah, do you see how he suddenly pushed the button?
Yeah, boy, push the button.
But no, what it says is that obviously we're not tied into the Jewish dietary code. Though I always find it ironic that we eat pork on Easter.
Yeah.
That's right. You're right. It's like I'm gonna make a statement.
Ham. It's gonna be ham.
I'm making
It's
a
like,
statement. We're gonna have a
Jesus didn't
ham.
eat ham.
Hey, now I've heard some people say that the reason why you don't supposed to eat pork is because when Jesus cast out the demons and they jumped into the pigs, they jumped off the cliff, and that the meat was cursed. But if he give you, dominion over,
No, well,
so that don't.
What happened
that
there
don't tie into
was,
that.
which is really fascinating. There, Jesus messed with some people's money again. So,
oh man,
Jesus comes. This is the man who had the legion of demons.
Mhm.
Jesus cast out that famous, what is your name? My name is Legion because I'm many, the whole thing. So he cast the man out. This is like one of the most misquoted scriptures in the Bible. Old black people say, I woke up this morning closed.
In my right
In my
mind.
right mind. CLOSED.
Yeah.
In my right mind.
Yeah.
You get the whole story. The guy was dealing with some serious mental health episodes to the point that he was self-destructive. And so when Jesus was able to heal him, so he cast the demons into the hogs. They ran off the cliff. There's a couple of things. This happened in Israel. That means that was the black market because there were probably Jews sneaking to buy pork to eat, right? And so Jesus messed up their money because those pigs went into. So didn't he get chased out? As I remember the story, he got chased out of there. Yeah, so that was the first time. Sunday, we're going to talk about him really messing with some money when he started messing with those money changers.
In the church.
Lord, not in the church. You're listening to Community Voice. We're inside Be Healthy, Be You. Miss Julia Means, Miss Brenda Buchanan, Ascension, Wisconsin. Phone lines are open, 414-444-5250. This is National Minority Health Month. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Community Voice on WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
Welcome back. I was going through getting the email where we get the show stuff from Nicole, and I saw an email that went back to March 20th, 2020.
It's been that long.
Yeah, from Sandra Robinson, and she was talking about be healthy, be you. And I don't know if we were talking about we were going to do it over the phone then.
We were because COVID was
because of COVID. Yeah, and man, I'm going like it's been at least 5 years.
Yeah.
It's hard on the phone, I think.
Oh yeah. I found out how hard preaching is on the phone.
Oh.
Because people got to mute their phone. You're not getting amen.
No. You don't know what's going on.
And I realize how much time amens take up in your message. If you did a whole message with no amens, you'd be done in about 13, 14 minutes. But, it's always, I heard Pastor McVicker say that was difficult. That's why he went back in the sanctuary and had people there because how
you feed off of.
You do. And how for descendants of enslaved Africans, call and response, where we gotta make some noise, in terms of letting the preacher know where you're going. You had shared something with me, and though it's kind of like a compliment on one level when you hear, man, he really preached today. And then the second question is about what? Because it's more important that they got the about what. But that's hard because your ego is just telling you, I want that affirmation. I want, it says a whole lot. And that's a great segue into these things where we begin to talk about how maybe relationships can impact our health. And what I mean by that is, the importance of knowing that you have somebody that cares about you.
Yeah, there are a lot of relationships that are unhealthy, and families live in that unhealthiness for so long they don't really even realize it. And I'm just talking about our children that are dying from unsafe guns in the household, and we had a baby shower at St. Joe's. We had 89 pregnant women that showed up.
And those are the ones we counted. There were some that weren't counted. That didn't include boyfriends, husbands, moms, friends, babies. It was packed.
And I was teaching gun safety. I had gun locks and you got a gun in the house? And so they'll go, they didn't know what they want to say, yes or no. And then some of the women would say, I live in a bad neighborhood. Yeah, I got a gun. I said, as long as you did what you had to do to get a gun, but do you have a lock, a safety lock to put on for this? I said, we should not lose another child to a gun not being locked.
No, yours are locked up.
Mine is locked up. I ain't got no gun.
So you say.
I don't want to kill nobody.
When Kamala Harris said that they was talking about if somebody broke in the house, she said they go get shot. They break in the house. She said they go get shot.
Now, I don't know what my husband got.
See, there you go.
But I can't testify to that. Yeah.
Hey, but Keith, though, you see how slick she was? She said, I ain't got one.
I do not have one. But there's a lot of women that do have guns and they feel like they need it. But I was teaching them, I can't tell you how many of them say, why would I lock my gun? Because when I need it, I don't want it to have a lock on it. I'm like,
and from a practical perspective, that kind of makes sense. But you got another thing going on. You have a 6-year-old. And I can't speak for everybody, but I've been rummaging through my mother's stuff as long as I can remember. I think the statute of limitations up on that.
Yeah.
That's right. True. No, I remember my son finding mine when showing it to his friend.
You gotta go.
I don't even know how he found it, but kids find stuff, right? So that was eye opening to me. Like, okay, we got to make some changes here. That ain't gonna work.
I said a lot of women that live alone.
Glad he didn't
But
find nothing else.
No telling what he's found. He was one of those kids.
It's for her back.
Yeah. Okay. I was playing with his friends, like, ooh, give mommy
Because
back
you
her
hear
back
dudes talking about
massager.
Keon always talked about how he found his daddy's stash. And he out there taking it and smoking it with his friends.
Now you in real trouble.
Right.
He found daddy's weed. So yeah, you do have to childproof your house.
You do.
I mean,
Yeah, I got rid of that gun after that.
Did you?
did.
Okay.
I did. I removed
Yeah,
it
I
from the
mean,
house.
it is.
That's scary.
Because man, I'm telling you.
No, that was it. So
No, but the kids do go through your stuff, and that's what happened in this tragic situation. It seems here, where the guy had just used the gun for a video, and let's lay it down. Kid 6, he sees it, and that's the fascinating thing. When I was growing up, it was not unusual for parents to buy boys guns. It wasn't.
Toy
Guns, yeah.
I grew up in a rural area. We had BB guns and stuff like that as a kid, and BBs hurt.
Yeah,
You shoot somebody with a BB, that is.
Yeah, go shoot. What are those air rifles?
Yeah.
I mean, but we grew up. America, it has a gun. A gun culture.
We do,
and there are more guns in this country than there are people. And because a brother had called yesterday, and he was either yesterday or Friday, asking, do we preach about gun violence? And it's more complicated and nuanced, because first of all, the genie is not going to be able to be put back in the box
At all. That's right.
Guns are so part of the culture.
Yeah.
You have Supreme Courts that have really strengthened the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
But here's the fascinating thing about that. They talk about disparate applications of the law. They put something on the law that says the felons cannot possess firearms. You can't even be in the presence of a firearm. So, if you're in the house and they come in the house and you're gun and you're a felon in the house, you're going to catch a charge.
And that's what's crazy to me, Keith, because living in these times and how dangerous things are. If you catch a felon charge in your young years and you are a felon, you don't supposed to be around guns or any weapons. So
for the rest of your life?
For the rest of if you're a felon, yeah. So one, how do you supposed to protect yourself and your family? Two, I've personally heard law enforcement say their job is not to stop the crime, it's to solve the crime. So you want me to get in a situation that is life or death, and if I don't have anything to protect me and my family, 9 times out of 10, it's going to affect me on the end that either I'm going to lose my life or somebody in my family going to lose their life. But if I try to protect them, I take the risk of not only saving our lives, but I got to go to jail for a minimum of 2 years because it's a felon that's caught with a pistol.
And here's my issue with the law. If I'm a non-violent offender, why should my gun rights be taken away? If I committed a crime with a gun, that makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
But if non-violent, I mean,
you look at white collar crime.
Most of the drug dealers out there, they hadn't did anything violent.
But even if I did do some violent in my younger years and I went through the system and I'm reformed, I'm on the straight and narrow. And even though I'm on the straight and narrow, we still live in this world of evilness. So how do I supposed to protect my family that I love without risking my freedom over something that I've done 10, 15, 20 years ago?
Well, I think, and this kind of gets around issues around health, emotionally where we are. And you talked about it. Sometimes we're in very toxic relationships. And usually if we don't have de-escalation skills or apply those skills, it escalates. And nobody wants to lose a fight. And so then I'm going to go in, and if I might be losing verbally, it might even be losing physically, I get a gun.
Yep.
You know, Rhonda joked, she said the reason why we don't have a gun is the first one to it. You know, I mean,
flip a coin. Who gonna get shot at?
And she's an athlete, so
right.
She gonna get to it first.
But you know, I mean that, and I don't know. We talk about health a lot of times, and that's why I said earlier, our relationships really contribute to our health.
Right. Well, like that young man, little boy that shot his mama. You know.
Yeah, over the video game.
Yeah.
No, that one or the one that was protecting his mom.
No, the one that.
Over the video game.
They're trying as an adult. He's like 11 or 12.
Yeah, and that's crazy to me, man. That right there don't sit right, because for the simple fact he did make a mistake. However, you charging a 12, 13-year-old, 14-year-old as an adult, you're putting him in the prison system early, and you're stripping him away from really being reformed, because putting him in a situation like that, who's going to teach him what he did was wrong? You just punishing him.
Right. And in a case like that, there clearly has to be some underlying mental health issues.
Oh yeah, and emotional issues.
It was
right. And so that is what really needs to be dealt with.
But is it that, or is it a kid just being a spoiled brat and just being a kid?
It could be a lot of things, but how we view it, and I think that this gets back to how violence is such a health issue in our community.
It is
huge.
It is a health issue, and we need to talk about it during
yeah, I mean, and we go like but no, it's and then we want to bemoan why we see violence. Well, think about it. Those are probably extreme cases of violence, but there's violence in our conversations.
Oh yeah,
they're very violent.
Oh,
you know, the things we say in anger, in our inability to deal with anger.
The music we listen to, the movies we watch.
Wait a minute, let's back up.
Yeah,
What music have you listened to?
I
that
have.
made you want to go?
Are you riding around listening to Tupac?
I love me some Tupac.
I was just listening to Tupac last night. How do you want it?
We thought
Love me
around
some
here,
Tupac.
man.
You know, let's stop blaming.
No,
King.
King, I gotta push back on you, because
there's some people that are malleable and that they're subject. But look, music ain't.
No, that ain't true.
The normal person. Music,
No, sir.
Music ain't made you want to do nothing but dance.
No, that's not true. That's not true. For the simple, and let me prove this. Music.
He's adjusting.
Come
his
on
hat
now.
to get ready to prove
Hey,
it
Doc,
now. When he adjusts that hat,
He's ready.
Hey man, I need my organ player. Where's my organ player? I'm gonna go ahead and bring it on home.
Give me F.
Right. Tune me up, Jack. No, seriously. I'm gonna show you both sides of the spectrum with music. When you're getting ready to get intimate with your partner, you set the atmosphere with music. Music sets the atmosphere. So if you want to have a nice dinner or whatever, I know where he going. I can't stand this dude on Tuesdays. So you set the music for the atmosphere. So you light the candles, you set the music, and that's what set the atmosphere. For me, on the reverse side, I'm not gonna tell that story. I'm gonna tell something else.
Okay.
On the reverse side,
before you get to the reverse side,
D won't stay out of it.
And I'm gonna use the scientific clinical term for this. When you get horny, you don't need no music.
No, but
when the sex drive is strong, you're right. It enhances it.
However,
but it wasn't the music that made me want to have sex with the person.
No. I'm not saying that though. You set the atmosphere.
Okay, but
so even if she's hold on. So even if she's not in the mood, you put on that right music.
She ain't in the mood. I don't care who you put on. It ain't happening.
You put on that right music. You can trigger something that'll put her in the mood.
Yeah, okay. I can't speak for them.
Hey,
but
I know about me,
that if she ain't feeling it, it ain't gonna happen.
No, but certain music can set the atmosphere that'll bring her into to what's going on. On the flip side, me riding in my car back in the day, Tupac fan. I mean, I listen to Tupac all day, all in my CD player. What got me was listening to these songs. Well, Hail Mary and Me and My Girlfriend. But that song, Me and My Girlfriend, it was related to you riding around with your gun. So having your girlfriend.
That was part of
no,
the ride.
hold on,
the whole ride, Jermaine.
No, yes, it was, bro.
It wasn't the whole ride. They talked about everything.
No, all I need in this world of sin is me and my girlfriend. So what he was talking about, there wasn't a woman.
Was she
he was talking?
gun?
No, he was talking about his gun. His gun that was his girlfriend, something that he kept every day is his gun. You can look it up.
Okay, but why would that inspire anybody to want
for
to
the simple
somebody?
fact that you're riding around it with your gun, you're listening to this music. Any and everybody that's riding up on you that's looking wrong, you got that unction.
But that means that you're already in a certain mindset already.
But the music puts you there. But
no,
it's the frequencies of the
there.
No, that's not true, Keith. It's the frequencies of the music. The music takes you there. Prime example, you can go to a concert not feeling well, and that music will start, and to put you in the mood, you start jumping around, and you doing all this.
Well, give me
because
a list
the music
of songs,
took you there.
Give me a list of songs that I should not listen to because I'm gonna want to kill somebody.
Tupac, Me and My Girlfriend, Biggie Smalls. Man, I can go down the list. Even now, they got these songs now for this drill music that they got, and the song is called "Do It." And this particular song is telling you, it don't matter if he's with his kids, do it. It don't matter if he's with his mama, do it. Whoever he's with, do it. And it's telling you to kill him. That's what that song is. It's a drill song.
How many people act on the song, Jermaine? That's the point I'm trying to make.
You don't know how many people act on the song, but the song influenced you to act. Like, again.
You're already in that state of mind.
No, you're not, though.
Okay.
I'm speaking from my experience. I wasn't in that state of mind when I walked out of the house, but when I got in the car and started up the car.
I could tell you Nina Simone's Mississippi Goddamn. I could tell you that, what is it? Fruit. The song. Strange Fruit. That might engender a certain sense of anger.
Yeah, on the flip side.
Okay.
But you gotta look at this. Look at our young people now that's carrying pistols, that's doing the stuff that they see in these music videos.
The difference between young people today and young people when I was coming along is the availability of firearms.
No.
Yes.
Well, I don't know about you, but in my young days, when we was coming up, we had availability to firearms because it was there.
There you go. And so then there was certain behavior because
you saw it.
Well, no, because you also had access. If you ask anybody, I ask two things. In my generation, what would happen if we had Facebook? You see the same behavior. We'd be doing the same behavior. We didn't have Facebook and we were putting people on blast. And then when it comes to weapons, if you saw a gun when I was growing up, I'm talking about with a kid, but by the 80s and 90s, guns were everywhere. So we were fighting, but here's the difference. It ended with the fist because we didn't have anything else. Now you have a gun. You're going to go in and you're going because no one wants to lose a fight.
Listen, and that's because now the typical thing that you're seeing on movies and videos is everybody carrying guns and they're handling now with guns. You don't see people.
We saw it in movies.
No, but
I started this discussion off with
Keith.
How many of us got toy guns?
But Keith, listen, back then we was conditioned. One, our parents, it was certain stuff that you saw that you tried to do. You implemented it from what you saw. So with water guns, we had water guns. They weren't real guns, but we would hop out on people and you would shoot them with the water guns because that was stuff we saw. Right. That was what we learned. Right. So everything we do is a learned behavior.
Now here's the difference. Now you have real guns and you have a kid with a real gun.
And right.
They're doing the same thing we're doing, but now not fully understanding the consequences
because
of having that
they're playing video games. Listen, hold on. Wait, listen. When they're playing Grand Theft Auto and when they're playing these games, because I still play them now. I'm grown enough to handle what happens on the game. But on the games, you can ride into a person's neighborhood, jump out, shoot them in the head, laugh, jump back in your car and drive off. In the game, they going to come back and respawn back. But in real life, you got these people that played these games for hours that's getting out here, running from the police, high-speed chase, driving with their guns, shooting at police, but not realizing that it's real life. This is real life out here.
All I'm saying, Jermaine, is if I had those options, I would have probably exercised those options too.
Exactly.
So then what we have to account for is the availability of guns. And it gets back to the same issues that we had in the past. People's inability to resolve conflict and how we resolve conflict. So I only say like the different, and look, it ain't just kids. When you look at the homicide rate, kids only make up 15% of that. That's the other folks out there. What are their influences? So
it's the same thing.
But that becomes a health factor because we normalize this is how I resolve conflict. I resolve conflict based on what I see in the home. How my parents deal with conflict, chances are it's how I'm going to deal with conflict. That is true. So when I get out, if I don't have any restraint, because we don't teach that. It's like getting back to, I don't know what you do in Blanket of Love. Do you teach parenting skills? Because one of the things you find in parenting is how many parents will discipline a kid in anger and what that turns out to be. And we have stories about people putting kids, it's unimaginable to me that you would put a kid in scalding water to try to change behavior. But if that's what we've been taught, and a lot of this is the residual effects of enslavement, where punishment was used as a way to modify behavior, then we celebrate whoopings. But I don't know if that's the healthiest way to raise a child. And we do it in such a way, and then we begin to deal with, okay, so if I see, my mother had a thing, and it was only violated once, where she said, I'm not going to whoop you now because I'm angry, because I'll kill you. And then I had an example of my mother being so angry, she wanted to kill us. There are kids who die because their parents are so angry and their inability. And so I think when we start talking about health, you talk about Black love. When we start talking about health, one of those things is just how do we get along in the world? Well, because it has an enormous impact on our health. If I'm angry all the time,
a lot of the mothers don't discipline. I mean, kids could be tearing it up, just knock, and the mothers are like, they don't see nothing. I'm going, don't you see that? Your son just flipped off the stage backwards. They're like, they're
but say something to him,
right?
Yeah. Say something to him. They ready to cuss you out because that kid is only emblematic of some behavior or accepted behavior. Yeah. And I'm saying it has impact on the health of our young folks. The fact that we look at, but we make it sound like it's only young people out here killing. It is not. They make up a small percentage of the actual killing. Yeah. These are grown ass people. Yeah. I told you all those years. Yeah. We have not taught people, and I don't know who's responsible. We're not taught. This is how you try to resolve it. Yeah. And we don't. It's just like we gonna win. And now it's funny you talk about children in children's church. I was teaching the kids about turning the other cheek. That's what the Bible said. Yeah. That's what Jesus said. And this young lady raised her hand and she said, oh boy, somewhere. She said, Reverend Parris, I know what you said, but my mama said.
They hit you.
Right. Hit them back. So when we talk about, we were celebrating Black marriage last month. And I think that that's good. But if truth be told, many of us will tell you that privately there are a lot of struggles there, because you getting married doesn't mean that you stop being selfish. And in some ways, you might become more selfish. And so how do you negotiate that in a relationship? I know ideally what a healthy relationship looks like.
Whatever works.
I know what it's supposed to be.
Well, we know what we see on TV too, and we know most of the time what we see in movies and TVs are not reality.
Yeah, but sometimes
some people can't separate that.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when you look at that,
and that's what they're always looking for.
If you look at like a Jerry Springer, for some of those folks, that's their reality.
Oh yeah. No, I'm talking about the ideal family where everybody's perfect.
The Cleavers.
Yes, and everybody gets along.
Cosby's.
Oh, Wally.
Come on, B. and I saw that, and you know, one of the things that I wanted so badly when I used to watch Leave It to Beaver was stairs
in the house.
in the house because
Oh.
we had lived in flats so long,
Mhm.
and man, my mom got her first house. We had stairs.
We had
Oh,
made it. Right?
yeah, we running up and down the stairs. That got old.
That get old.
That got
Right.
old real quick.
Mhm.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mr. Parris,
Good morning.
and to the distinguished ladies, nurses. I think that's the proper. Hopefully, I was grammatically correct. In the building, and to the producer, Mr. Rideout.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Assalamu alaikum to you all.
Bless you.
Thank you for taking my call, Mr. Parris. I was listening to you all talking about Jesus, and I think it's the Jesus 2,000 years ago. And when I listen to people who, I don't know if you're a Christian or if that's your inclination or that's what your faith is based in, but when I hear a lot of Christian people talk about Jesus, I hear a lot of lies. I'd be like, why are you lying on Jesus like that? But then they claim to be a follower of him. You know, I'd be like, that's messed up. Because the stuff that I hear people, that some of the callers, and here's another thing before I go. You all, what trips me out is that some of these people have been calling into you all's programs for years and years and years and years and years. And y'all still have to tell them to turn off their radio or their speaker. I was like, what the hell is wrong with y'all? Are you just sitting in your car, you want to hear your voice so bad, or somebody sitting around you, you want to be like, listen to me, I'm on the radio. You already know to turn down your radio because it's going to give feedback. You know, that's one of my pet peeves. I'm like, man, you've been calling here since 1991. What the hell's going on? Anyway, this is what I want to say about Jesus, and I'll go. Y'all be claiming Jesus now, and if, as they say, if the shoe hit you and the dog holler or however it goes, then I'm probably talking to you. When you say that Jesus got some pig meat blessed, something like that, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And then you always talking about that there's 7 billion plus people on the planet that Jesus never met. So how in the hell did he die for them to keep on practicing evil? How does that work?
That's a great question. And
how does that work?
I think theologians have been wrestling with that since the time of Jesus. All right, appreciate you. And what I was saying in tongue in cheek was that, again, because those people who are followers of Jesus do not have, for the most part, a dietary code. There are exceptions. That would be the Seventh-day Adventists. There's some other folks out there. But for the most part, you know, you can eat whatever. And that's good or bad. But like I said, I'd laugh at the irony of us eating ham on Resurrection Sunday when we know that Jesus was an adherent to the dietary laws of the past, certainly of the Jewish people. You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
That soul-stirring gospel Easter bash is gonna be a bash you don't wanna miss at Abundant Face, located at 7830 West Good Hope Road. The Captain Spirituals. Come on now, Spencer Taylor and the Highway QCs. The fabulous Lucky Brothers, Pastor Tim Rogers and the Phillips is gonna be in the house. Bishop Neil Robeson, Reverend R.L. Bush and the Revived Son, Willie Rogers, Tiffany Terry, Willie Banks Jr. and the Messengers. Curtis Eubanks. Now get your tickets at the New Mortuary. Call 414-447-6000.
Voice on WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
That's funny. I was telling him off here about my admiration for Christopher Hitchens, an atheist. And but then I got to thinking, well, Keon thought I was an atheist. So, you know.
Only a fool says in the heart that there's no God.
Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm always good. I love me.
This coach.
Of course.
Man, what's up, coach? I'm scared of coach, man. The coach hand's too big, man. I'm scared of him. How you doing, coach?
I'm doing fine. I heard part of the conversation about kids carrying guns. I'm not clear on exactly what you were talking about. I just wanted to say I started carrying a gun when I was in the 6th grade. I shot 3 or 4 people before I got to high school.
Oh.
I learned that you're supposed to destroy your enemy. And that was taught in my house because most of my family were all military people. My mother, my father, my grandfather, my sister, and 3 uncles and 2 sons. We were all military people. And we were taught to destroy. When you identify the enemy, you eliminate. And that was taught in my house, much less out in the streets and otherwhere. But I come up in the streets of Detroit. And kids carried guns. Everybody had some kind of weapon. All through elementary school, middle school, and high school. So what you see today is unusual because of the fact there's nobody training anybody to use them. And the other part of that is about empathy. We don't do enough teaching about that. But we do teach people how to destroy each other, mentally and physically. Have a good day.
All right, appreciate you.
Thank you.
One of the statute of limitations up. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hey, if you notice, I ain't saying too much.
No.
They ain't coming to get me, Jack. I don't know nothing.
Good morning, Keith. This is Angela again. I just want to piggyback on what you were saying about the young man that shot his mother. But look at the 2 white girls that stabbed her best friend through the Slender Man, talking to them. So how they got off with just going to be locked up in an institution for mental people, but they're not doing that with that young man. They're trying him as an adult because of the color of his skin. And I'm going to leave it at that. So I have a question for the nurses. I'm not sure what your topic is, but me, myself, I do have a primary doctor. I stopped going to the hospitals, because I wasn't getting the proper treatment that I deserve because of the color of my skin. I just have a medical card. I don't have a private insurance, none of that. You know what I'm saying? But I felt some type of way how I was being mistreated. So my doctor, I no longer goes to the hospitals because I have no belief in them. Because I don't like to be mistreated because of who I am, being a female and being a black woman. So I don't go. So like now I'm 60 years old. I've always been a clean female, but now I got OCD. Like I'm just like, I don't know, it's out of control. So why has this happened at this age that I am, but always been a clean person? Love to keep my house immaculately clean. I just can't have nothing out of order, but now it's just got real bad. So can you explain that? Give me some type of feedback on why this is happening at my age of 60. I'm OCD now. Real bad OCD.
I appreciate you, Angela. Dr. Meeks.
Tell her why she done.
Dr. Buchanan.
We all have defense mechanisms. And OCD could be one of your defense mechanisms. You know, you have control over your environment. But if you won't go, I mean, you say you have a card. If you have a medical card, you do have a specific health insurance that that you belong to. And if you don't know who it is, you call on the back of that card, and they'll tell you what health care system you need to go to. You say you have a primary care physician. Utilize your primary care physician and ask him why you are getting have that now. But you have to seek services, and if it's not to the level that you want it to be, because they when people provide you care, they don't look at your insurance. We never know whether people have what kind of insurance they have. We're treating you, and if you feel like you're not being treated correctly, then you need to complain. And your primary care physician will speak to you. Ask to speak to the nurse in charge. There are a lot of ways that you can write out complaints or call. It's usually a phone line where you can call and make a complaint. People are really into service, customer service. And if you feel like you're not getting good customer service, you do have a right to complain.
But that's one of the health disparities. One, either access to health insurance, right? And then the difference between public and private health insurance. You know, what private health insurance gives you a little bit more in terms of things that you might have access to. That was one great thing, the many great things about the Affordable Care Act, is that it addresses some of the disparities. And number one is, again, minority and poor people's access to health care. And those disparities there, you know, they exist. And you start off talking about COVID. And we start talking about comorbidities that are untreated, usually undiagnosed, right? People just kind of walking around there ticking time bombs. And then you have something like this virus that comes in. And then it really shows us that there are disparities here in terms of how we eat. We were joking about pork, but our diets, you know, a lot of it, as you say, is behavior. And you're not blaming, I hope I'm not blaming the victim. Just saying, but there's some things that, though difficult, we might have to make adjustments if we want to live a healthier life. Excuse me.
And that's how we got into behaviors and relationships and all that. But really, private insurance and public insurance, it just depends. Sometimes public insurance can be better,
Can pay a lot better than
private.
your private
So,
insurance.
yeah, so you have to know what you have and utilize what you have to the best of your ability.
And you know, sometimes, I mean, we push the whole primary care doctor experience, and having somebody that you really trust and value can help you navigate that and can help you find what the best resources are for your insurance. And I just want to say OCD is a diagnosable illness, and things that aren't treated, illnesses just like other chronic diseases, when they're not treated, they continue to get worse as we age. And so being a neat freak and keeping your house clean, those are on the outside good things, but sometimes those are indications of being OCD. If you can't look at, you know, like I have a friend of mine, if she sees a piece of dust, she can have a whole room full of people. She sees a piece of dust on the ceiling, she's going to get a chair and go over there because she can't function without getting that little piece of dust off of the thing. She won't rest and be able to enjoy the company until she does that. But that's something you should talk to your doctor about, because there is treatment for that. And sometimes, you know, it's not just getting older, but other stressors that we have in our life, like Julia said, not feeling like you're in control, being able to control your environment is the one thing that you can do. But you should really speak to your doctor, because there are treatments for
and I think
OCD.
that's what makes relationships when people are cohabitating so difficult, because of just how we might look at organization and how a home should be organized. I'll never forget there was a young lady, and she passed, and we went by the house to do the funeral arrangements. That is the cleanest house I've ever been in. And my grandmother kept an immaculate house. This woman's house was the family. This is how it always was. And I can imagine as a kid how difficult that would be, in terms of, because if people notice, I will start doing this. And my friend Ray called in and we joked because, and I do it to Keon all the time. Keon would have paper arranged. And I would just move it just enough,
just to get him going,
right? And then he'd be like, "Who been back here?" What? So I think you talk about is how we cope, how you, how you, and I don't know, and I'm sure there is some psychology where people are. It's like when you can smell a person's perfume or cologne before they even get there. They're masking something, and they could be clean, but they're, So we deal with a lot of that. We don't talk about it. We normalize things to the point where, like I said, on the weekends, if I was at Adam A's house, we got great meals, but we were cleaning.
So, Keith, let me ask you. So, what do you mean about that they are masking something?
That a lot of times you, I think, now this is just Keith.
Okay.
I think like colognes and perfumes are something where, people really have to get in your space. But I've seen others, and I think I even did it in my life, where you put on all this cologne. Why? I mean,
so everybody, not just the people that are close to you are smelling it, but
everybody.
You walk in the room and everybody, you can smell it.
But could it be because you just like to smell good?
Or it's that loud. Some
perfume
is that loud.
Is it loud? I mean, you like smelling good, but should I be smelling you from 3 blocks away?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
See, because I'm
coming. He already told us about playing basketball.
I get on the back.
Yeah, allergies.
You gonna
just
smell
set off
me.
allergies.
Yeah, we couldn't wear anything that
in the hospital when we're working with patients.
When
we
I
can't
was a
wear
teenager,
anything.
man, shower, no, cologne.
Yeah. Well, see, that's why he thinks that way, right?
Cologne.
Because he's covering up the funk.
There's the basket right there. Like a shower.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I don't. But no, I think we do. So we talk about these disparities and how, again, if this was done in 1915, which is 110 years ago, and we're still having these discussions today.
We are. And we feel like, well, African Americans tend to relate to African Americans. And some, yeah. Some people
everybody go like,
but most African Americans want an African American doctor or some care provider. Some of them do, but the field is not balanced,
right?
And so sometimes you get care providers or other people that you racially or emotionally can't relate to.
When I was a kid, all my doctors were black.
But back in the day, because that's who only
your neighborhood doctors too
served in our community. They lived in our community. That's how it was back in the day. But nowadays it's different, and you notice that a lot of clinics are outside the city. They're not inside the city, and so
except for dialysis units.
So we have to look at that, and we hit everything we were supposed to talk about. The racial and how things affect us, and gender and age, and
there have been some things over where African Americans were treated differently than in Caucasians from a standpoint of, again, diagnosing pain. pain management. Black people had less receptor cells, they believe. So as a result, their pain level would have to be a whole lot higher before they would be treated. Even in kids in pediatrics, they weren't treating kids with pain. And the kidney function, that if a Caucasian person had a creatinine of 1, they were considered normal. We had to go to a 1.1 to be, so our kidneys are already worse before we're considered having kidney disease. Now they're really trying to roll that back. But those are the things. So we were already had some kidney disease before we were diagnosed.
It's when we were dealing with COVID, the Tuskegee experiment came up, and so trying to explain the difference between that and COVID was that those folks who had been diagnosed with syphilis, right? They weren't treated.
They thought they were, but they weren't.
But they got placebos, right? They weren't treated, and so that experiment to see what would happen. And so for a lot of then Black folks, it was like we were used as human guinea pigs, and now we think about a very horrendous health experiment. So there was a distrust that people who were made aware of it, but then that gets into, again, our belief system, how we, I'm always going to go fact, faith. Now, for some people, they operate differently. And we found that out during COVID, where there were people who thought that their religion was going to stave off a virus, and your religion will not stave off a virus. And it's science now in terms of how that virus has to be treated, how that virus has to be prevented. But people operated on their beliefs. And then you had people talking about a deathbed confession. You had people then who, can you give me the vaccine?
Right. Yeah. And, Keith, is interesting when you say that because, we did COVID vaccines all over the city, not just Julie and I, but our team. We were all over the city doing them. And one of the places we did them were at Ebenezer. And we would try to get people knowing that if we're in their environment, we look like them, we're more likely to get them to come in. But we would have people saying, no, I'm not getting my shot here. Why? Because I don't know. I'm going to go where the white people get theirs. Because belief that we had a vaccine that was not.
No, seriously,
that was the belief,
and
we're like, and I'm like, well, I picked this up from the pharmacy.
Yeah, I heard that too.
But,
okay, and that very thing is why I went where I went, because I figured, look, unless they have it back here, like even in this environment, I was down inside downtown, so it was a multi. But yeah, I was going where the white people get theirs,
but
just in case.
That's what people. No, I'm not. I'm like, but you don't trust me and Julia. We don't know what vaccine they gave you.
Right.
Yeah, because it was two of them. It was the Johnson & Johnson, and then it was the
Moderna.
There was Moderna, and then there was the Pfizer.
No, right. It was. Now, I was in a barbershop when this first happened, and a lot of people was talking, and the first thing that they said was Black people can't get
wrong.
And so a whole lot of people was agreeing, and I'm not even gonna lie. At first, it crossed my mind until one of my best friends got it. Well, not best friends, but one of my friends who's a musician got it and passed away from it.
I knew all three of the first people to die from COVID in Milwaukee County. I knew all three of them.
That's crazy.
So you're sitting there, and I think that's why Be Healthy, Be You is so important. Because even though you come from a faith-based institution, it's still facts and science. And that does not, and people, because we've been so programmed, somehow that negates God. It does not. And so get that out of your mind, man. I mean, now I've done everything I can do. Okay. Even we should go to God first.
You still can go to God.
You can do them simultaneously.
Right.
Go get your vaccine and pray while you're getting your vaccine.
I was listening to Lauren Larson, who's part of Jimmy Swaggart's ministry. That's Jimmy Swaggart, those folks. And but he was talking about how he had brain cancer and facing that brain cancer. And he talked about the treatment. But here's where the faith kicked in for him. That there were days that he was ready to give up. He said, I don't want to deal with this anymore. That's when his faith kicked in. because a lot of times it's the fatigue of the treatment.
Mhm.
It begins to wear you down. It has impact on your body. You don't like feeling the way you're feeling, but that's the process. And then faith is that I'm going to get better. I'm going to work through this, right? It was one of the few times that I ever applauded anything I heard other than their music, but to be able to have that testimony, because I know a lot of evangelicals died, right?
Yes, they did.
A lot of, when it was interesting, the Church of God in Christ got hit hard with this.
They sure
The
did
Baptist
early
Church
on.
got hit hard with this. Why? Because not knowing this invisible virus is in our atmosphere, people were having their convocations, their meetings, and people got sick. And then it also highlighted sometimes, and we promoted unconsciously, the comorbidities that we deal with. TD Jakes is walking around a ticking time bomb. Now he got to know the weight, all those things. And so then his wake-up call is he had a heart attack, a massive heart attack. Now, I don't think that it was his lack of faith.
Correct.
But there were other things out there that probably contributed to that. Now, the faith is going to get you through. I admire those people who are trying to get back from injuries, because you want to go back to the day before you had the injury. You want to go back to the day before you got sick. I know when I had the stroke, I want to go back to feeling like I did, even though I probably wasn't feeling that great. I wasn't feeling like this.
You didn't have that weighing on you.
Right. So now you know. So we'll be talking about the health disparities, all this Minority Health Month, and the impact.
But don't utilize your insurance. You got insurance.
Pay for it.
Go. Take. Yeah.
I got a buddy. I said, dude, you got your money's worth plus some with you. Anything you at the doctor, man.
Yeah.
But then you have other people
who don't go.
They don't go. And I understand the fear. The fear of discovery.
And fear is often far worse than the actual, illness or whatever happens. That fear, we build it up. It's way up here.
Well, Julia, thank you.
You're welcome.
Brenda, thank you. Debo, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
And Rhonda, thank you.
Jermaine, thank you.
Yep.
Welcome.
She keeps digging her.
I need to call Brother Means. Where that gun?
I know you got it in the closet.
You got it.
It's somewhere down there.
She said. Now she don't know where it is. Plausible deniability.
Right.
It's somewhere in
I
that
didn't even know he had a gun, and it's like, but he ended up dead.
All right. Ow.
Debo got me scared to drive my car. So
Right. We're all in trouble here.
let me thank everybody for being part of the program. The good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go for this place of peace.